Nope. Ah, no, no, please. Please don't kill me. Where's the downside of that? Sonic the fucking Hedgehog is the animal behind the dreaded Sonic cycle that plagued the games. Fortunately, Sonic Colors stopped it for a while, until Lost Worlds and Sonic Boom revived it. Sonic 3 had a very interesting development history. It was gonna be a top-down isometric game like 3D Blast later on, but that was scrapped early on. It was gonna be a very big game stored into a single cartridge, but due to time constraints, it was divided by two, with the latter part released later. Interestingly, Sega brought Michael Jackson to compose the soundtrack, but he dropped out, either because the Mega Drive sounded bad for him, or due to the allegations of sexual assault. That escalated quickly. Despite all that, Sonic 3 was eventually released in February 1994, while the second part, Sonic & Knuckles, was released in October and November of that year. Sonic Team came back and making a main Sonic game, along with Yuji Naka and STI, so everything is okay now. What's interesting is that Sonic & Knuckles has this different looking cartridge with a sliding cover on the top, which has a port where you attach another cartridge over it. It's what Sega calls it lock-on technology, and while it wasn't the first time, and certainly not the first officially licensed one, this one can do wonders. If you plop Sonic 3 on it, you get the completed version. If you plop Sonic 2, you get to play the game as Knuckles. If you plop something else like Sonic 1, you get this screen. And Blue Spheres, but we'll get to that later. I'll be playing this amazing ROM hack called Sonic 3 Complete for the majority of the review. It has a lot of options like different gameplay styles, restoring level order, musical choices and all that. It's awesome really, but I'm gonna stay in mostly as it was released. Now, the title screen may tell you that it's gonna be another happy less challenging game, which it is. Okay, maybe not the less challenging part, but it's way easier than Sonic 1, so there's that. Like Sonic CD, it has a save feature, and this one is much easier. It auto saves whenever you finish a zone instead of you having to save it to the RAM by yourself. So the game is actually more story driven than Sonic 2, as evidenced by the start of the game. We see Sonic and Tails heading to Angel Island, and he turns into Super Sonic, and then Knuckles comes in and steals the Chaos Emeralds. Hey, that rap song lied to me!
Unlike Sonic, I don't chuckle.
Angel Island Zone, look how colorful and cheerful it is, look how Sonic goes! Is this getting tiresome? So the game functions very similar to Sonic 2. You can do the spin dash, but you cannot do a peel out. Hey, I'm fine with just the spin dash, alright? But in exchange for that, you now have something called the Insta Shield, where if you tap the jump button twice, it slightly increases the attack range for a fraction of a second. Tails on the other hand is more improved, at least playing just as him. You can now make him fly and swim for a limited time by double tapping the jump button. You can also control the height by tapping it, but it will tire the fox more. As for Knuckles, if you play the complete version, you can make him glide and climb walls, and you can also destroy rocks by just touching them. While the Sonic and Tails levels are all the same, the Knuckles stages are harder, with harder bosses and different paths that are more difficult to traverse. Something Cuphead, gaming journalist, Get Good, and all that Gamergate nonsense. What, were you expecting something like a disclaimer thingy to explain that I've got nothing against Gamergate? Well, okay. Disclaimer, Gamergate is a movement comprised of reactionary babies crying foul about ethics in gaming journalism and thinking they are fixing it, when in reality they're just attacking not only journalists but feminists, minorities, gamers, and themselves, so I've got no respect to them since the start of the year. Now where's my popcorn? The rig system is the same. 0, dead, at least 1, you survive, 100, new life, you get the gist of it. What's changed is the checkpoints. Getting at least 20 rings and going past the boss will have these circling spikes. But instead of going to a special stage, you go into a bonus stage. There's only one in Sonic 3, but 3 in the completed version. Depending on the ring count, there's a gumball machine one where you get over to the left to drop a bubble that you can grab. There's a slot machine, which is a combination of the special station from Sonic 1 and Casino Night from Sonic 2. And this one, where you have to get to the top while also grabbing bonus bubbles. These range from shields, rings, extra life, or just nothing, or bounce balls. Speaking of shields, there are now different shields that you can get, like the fire shield which can make you fireproof, the wall shield which prevents you from drowning, and the magnet shield which attracts rings. They can also give you special moves like speed boost, bounce jump, and double jump respectively. This is a really welcome feature, especially the water shield. Now I don't have to worry much about the water levels. Huh? What's going on? What happened to the music? Hey, what's this? Damn it, the cutscene ruined a good island. As I said, this is more story driven, which means it has to have cutscenes, which, to be honest, kind of break the flow of the game. While the levels actually feel more faster, there's always gonna be a catch. I mean, they're fine and short, but if you're much into speedrunning, they break the flow of it, unless you try to do some sequence breaking. Meanwhile, mini-bosses are a thing. On every first act of a zone, there's gonna be a mini-boss which you only have to hit like 4 or 6 times. It's nice to have more challenge. Here, however, it's just easy peasy. Just hit it from the top. If you're Knuckles, beware of the launching rockets from the top. To be honest, I really like the Sonic 3 version of the mini-boss song than the Knuckles version. The second act changes the zones up a bit with background changes and music changes, and usually the second act songs sound more intense and the layouts are more speedier. The zones are, again, divided into 2 acts, which, let's face it, is not a standard thing for the series. 3 acts? Screw that! 2 acts? Perfect. I don't mind third acts if they're only short levels with a boss at the end, like in Sonic CD. There are big rings here throughout the levels, which leads you to the special stages. This is the blue spheres that I mentioned earlier, and my god, it's blue ball heaven! You have to get all the blue balls, which transform into red balls that you must avoid, but if you go around a group of blue balls, they transform into rings. Collecting 50 gives you a container, but if you try to collect all of them, you get a perfect score at 50,000 points. There's also bouncing balls and jump balls that reverse an obstacle. If you get all the blue balls in a stage, you get a Chaos Emerald. And what is up with the fucking music? The stages will speed up over time, which amps up the difficulty. Collect all the emeralds and you can become Super Sonic, as long as you have at least 50 rings at the stage. Blue Spheres is also a separate game if you plop something else that is in Sonic 2 or 3. The bonus game has millions of stages that you can beat. You can either play a randomized one or enter a code to play a specific one. Of course, it wouldn't be a Sonic game without Robotnik in the last act of the zone, starting with a bombardment? That's overkill. Actually, this is the actual boss of the zone. Eggman launches fireballs at Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, whatever. Hit him 8 times and you're done! Zone completed! Seems fair enough so far, but oh look! Knuckles! A water zone already? The speed is on top, including the levels themselves. Sure, the first acts are more platform focused, but the second acts are more speed focused some of the time. And holy shit, Hydro City has to be my favorite water zone in the series. You don't get to be underwater most of the time, and the second act is a fast stage, once you get away from the moving wall that is. And the music is one of my favorites, especially the second act one. The mini-boss is where you confront a mixer or something that can speed up on the half-pipe. And in the second act boss, Robotnik uses his propeller to make a water tornado that you can stand on it, and also drop grenades. You still didn't think this through, didn't you? Well, at least the bosses are more challenging than in Sonic CD. Marble Garden Zone, not to be confused with Marble Zone. It involves some cheap traps, spinning tops, and lots of rings. The speed cap is the same as Sonic 2, almost non-existent. You can go as fast as you can while holding left or right. Okay, there might be some glitches or, as the manual says, Robotnik's diabolical traps. They didn't have enough time to polish the game! But still, it's amazing. Oh look, it's those bad eggs from Sonic 4. The mini-boss is similar to the Mystic Cave boss, and the mini-boss feels unique, at least playing as Sonic or Tails. Tails carries you while you try hitting Eggman flying around. On the Knuckles version, you have to avoid the ropes inside the room. Ah, the dreaded Carnival Night Zone. It's infamous for having the same initials as Casino Night Zone. Just kidding, it's this fucking thing. Many players got stuck here because they didn't know they're supposed to hold up and down, and the manual didn't tell you this. You probably have to buy an edition of Psychic Visions or something like that, or figure it out yourself, only to realize there's only 30 seconds left before it hits 10 minutes. Why do these games have a time limit of 10 minutes? It's because they couldn't program it to have more than an addition for the minute part? It's just my pet peeve. The mini-boss is where you hit this thing so that it becomes vulnerable to this spiky flying spinning top. And on the main boss, Robotnik uses his electrical power to attract Sonic with that ball. While the bosses are challenging, the elemental shields can make them easier, especially the electrical shield that can let you double jump. So there was supposed to be a different zone after this, but due to time and size constraints, they had to move it to the second part, so it skipped right into Ice Cap Zone, part of the first snow level in the series. I'm not sure. Did Sonic Triple Trouble came out after or before Sonic 3? Ah, okay. Man, this music rocks! This is one of those zones with at least an endless wall where you have to do a specific thing to get out of there. Case in point, pushing this rock to destroy a wall. The enemies are still varied and unique, although you see these enemies that are similar to the ones from the previous two games, not cutting CD. But there's also a few enemies that aren't the usual touch them when you lose rings deal. There's this piranha thing which sucks up your rings gradually, a cloud maker lava reef which slows you down, and these things disguised as spikes and act as bounce pads. Some of the levels actually feel more popular than ever, like in Nitro City, Launch Base, Flying Battery, and others. The mini-boss is somewhat similar to the Metropolis one, and in the second act, Eggman uses his freezing powers to, freeze Sonic. Simple memorization is the key of all this. Launch Base Zone. This is actually the last level of the first half. I was kind of expecting this to be a foreboding and dark setting like Scrap Brain, but seeing the final zone to be on broad daylight with funky ass music is really refreshing. Don't get me wrong, it's difficult as fuck, but once you get tired of last levels to be dark and broody. And now we learned that the Death Egg is really a Death Star parody. Yeah, and Super Sonic is a parody of Super Saiyan, and these look like Macintoshes. The original one. Let me tell you about the story for a bit. Just after Sonic 2 ended, the Death Egg crashed into a floating island, causing it to go to the ocean. Robotnik met Knuckles, guardian of the Master Emerald and the last of the nation, the Kidna tribe, and somehow convinced me into thinking Sonic and Tails are heading to the island to steal it, kinda like Dr. Cortez convincing Crash into collecting crystals to save the world in Crash 2. Hey, it smiles better than Shadow the Hedgehog! The first boss is this thing that spins its arms. Playing as Knuckles, you must defeat 2 of them. I just wanted to tell you that Sonic 3 has 6 acts with water, and they're not that terrible. And I say Sonic 3 because Sonic and Knuckles doesn't have a single level with water, just like Sonic 2 where a few of the other levels have water and the rest don't have any. Such a relief! The Eggman part are divided in 3 forms. First the ball launcher one, second, after this cutscene of Sonic piloting Robotnik's egg and the rockets launching, is this thing that goes up and down. And you might be thinking it's over if you're playing Sonic 3, but wait! Why is the screen all dark and what the fuck? Funny, considering that playing as Knuckles, this thing comes up and yet the boss music is the same and the background doesn't go dark. And you beat the first half of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Now you just have to wait till October for the second half to come up. It's like those episodic games, you kind of wish all the content was released together since day one. Now before I take a break, let me talk about the competition mode real quick. It's basically the 2-player mode in Sonic 2 but less stretchy and with 5 original levels instead of just using the ones from the main game. There are lap races between the clock or a friend. No, there's no AI for this. It seems enjoyable, but it kind of feels like it was added at the last second. At least the music is kick-ass, the levels look gorgeous, and the sprites look cute. Anyway, join me later as I look at the second part of the Sonic 3 duology. Mushroom Hill, Mushroom Valley as it was called in the betas. What's this? What is he hiding from us? Ah, so this is where you play the special stages to get a Super Emerald. If you enter the Rainbow Flashing Ring for the first time with at least a Chaos Emerald, it will turn into a Grey Emerald and you must stamp on it to enter a stage. Collecting all of them will give you the ability to become hypersonic. I won't spoil much about it, but once you have all the Chaos Emeralds, every big round in the second half will be rainbow colored. Mushroom Hill is a really easy zone. After the madness that was launch based, it's nice to have a breather level. Of course, every 50,000 rings will give you an extra life like in Sonic 2, but in order to get continuous, you only have to get 50 rings in a special stage. The mid-boss is a lumberjack and he's not okay. This is the only Monty Python joke that will spew here. Oh sweet! I really like Act 2 because the season changes. And the main boss is a hurl challenge. Later at Flying Battery Zone, some Mitchback called Professor Otis and unveiled some world-ending thingy. Oh wait, wrong script. Originally a zone between Carnival Night and Ice Cap, Flying Battery Zone is actually my favorite of the duology, with fast-paced levels, amazing music, and really idiotic bosses. Dude, you're destroying your freaking chip. You still didn't think this through. There are elevators that also serve as crushes in the second act, so be careful. The main boss is where you hit Eggman when he spins. I could make an oil tycoon joke here, but it just doesn't make sense in a setting like this. It's nice to see a desert setting in a Sonic game. There was supposed to be one in Sonic 2, but that was scrapped. Well, at least that level was revived in Sonic Mini under a different name. Now, Sandopolis is fine on the first act. You have this pathetically easy boss where you have to lead the golem into the quicksand. But then things go to hell once you go to the second act. The level gets dark and worse yet, ghosts will appear and will attack you if you don't find a light switch in time. Then there's the endless slide where you have to leave by jumping into a different slide, and the rising sand where you have to get to the top quickly before it crushes you. This is one of the most frustrating levels in the series, at least in the 2D games, next to Labyrinth Zone and Lost Labyrinth Zone from Sonic 4 Episode 1, where you use a torch to traverse the level. The main boss is kinda like the final boss of Sonic 2, only you have to hit Robotnik 8 times instead of 12 or something. You fucking idiot! Oh great, now this game should have been called Sonic Goes to Hell. At least it would have been a better creepypasta than Sonic EXE. Look at all that stuff! Fake out boss, exploding badniks, marble memories. This place has everything! Hell, it even includes foreshadowing! But then everything went cool, literally. I don't care how some think the second half is lazily put together. If that were true, the developers must have been some lazy geniuses here. The graphics are the best that the system has. Multiple layers of background, colorful stages, transitions that make a zone look like a giant level, different backgrounds in one level. They really push the system to its limits. Even the cutscenes are good, being in-game rather than pictures and text. Sonic 3 tells itself to show, don't tell. Meanwhile, Knuckles punched a boulder at Sonic that leads to Eggman reactivating the Reef and the Death Egg. The first phase is to avoid the rocks in this auto-scroller, and then this boss, which is quite easy if you use the fire shield. Either way, you just avoid Robotnik's mines as it slides to his submarine. And then everything went cool again and Sonic goes to Hidden Palace Zone, where the Master Emerald is held in. And you also get to fight Knuckles, which is pathetically easy. Okay, he can spin towards Super Sonic from underneath, but he gets easily defeated by a regular Sonic? I have questions. Nevertheless, Eggman steals the emerald and Knuckles, foiled by his betrayal, gets electrocuted. Well, he can still punch the wall and teleport to the skies! Oh man, the music is the best that I listened for the system. The sounds are great, and there's a few that either sound ominous, realistic, or futuristic. The music is godlike. Sky Sanctuary's music is just amazing to hear, after listening to the evil-esque sounds of the previous 3 levels. Don't get me wrong, Flying Battery is also one of my favorites, but damn it, this one is great! Shoutouts to Ice Cap and Nitro City. Despite the former being uncredited, having Michael Jackson and Brad Buxer handling some of the music helps. Speaking of which, here's a trivial fact. The Ice Cap music is actually based on the Jetsons' Hard Times. Makes sense since Buxer was the keyboardist for the band. Also, Michael Jackson's Stranger in Moscow uses the Sonic 3 credits as its sample. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, Sky Sanctuary. Here you confront the Egg Robots and Mecha Sonic reenacting the bosses from Sonic 1 and 2, before you confront him. Well, at least he doesn't shoot spikes. As Knuckles, this is the last zone and the last boss is Mecha Sonic. You think you defeated him, but he gets more powerful after stepping into the Emerald. The Knuckles version theoretically takes place after Sonic 3, as evidenced by the lack of the Death Egg in some of the stages. Speaking of which, quick! Into the egg! And now we're back at Dark Places as final levels. Well, at least the Death Egg is now a more fleshed out zone than it was in Sonic 2. Conveyor belt elevators, anti-gravity, whatever that's supposed to be, but hey, it looks cool. And this thing where you have to hit all the yellow bumpers to progress. The mid-boss is a two-phase one. Hit the eye to destroy all the balls, hit it again while he's flying. Really hard, I must say. And there's one of the last bosses of the game, where you have to use the gravity controls to destroy the ball with its bombs that look like something out of Robot Wars. God damn! Robotnik is still faster than Sonic! Well, Sonic 1 had big pistons, Sonic 2 had this mech, Sonic CD had this rolling thing, so without counting Launch Base's boss, I wonder what's gonna be! Oh my! Jeez, isn't that overkill? Doesn't matter, Sonic still defeats it by destroying its fingers and hitting the Emerald Power Ray Gun. Give me back that Master Emerald! Oh crap, I didn't get all the Super Emeralds, but hey! At least I can replay the game with all of my lives and emeralds that I collected without having to restart from scratch. Hooray for replay value! So that was Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I am still not sure if this is the best game for the Mega Drive. It's one of the best, indeed, but it's hard to decide whether this or Sonic 2 should be on the top spot on the list. One has a great sense of speed, only to be hampered by Metropolis Zone, and the other also has a great sense of speed with awesome music and graphics, only to be slightly hampered by cutscenes during levels. You know what? Fuck it. Sonic 3 and Knuckles has to be the best Mega Drive game I've ever played. I recommend getting the games, period. You can also get it on the PC, although good luck hearing those MIDI songs. It's also on the Mega Collection, but you have to do some outlandish achievement to unlock the Locked On game. I also recommend Sonic 3 Complete again. It's a great ROM hack. Oof! Finally, I've reviewed all the main Sonic Mega Drive games before the end of the year. KLX and 3D Blast don't count, although I might review them one day. Huh? Meet me at the abandoned airfield. We need to talk. Hi, sorry if I didn't share on the game. Were you expecting me doing that? Here, I brought my laptop so that you can speak.
Thanks. First off, I must apologize for stealing your copy of SSX. I know I should have done that earlier. I completely forgot about it. Second, yes, I did expect you to shit on Sonic 3, since you said Sonic 2 is the best Sonic game for the Genesis, and I immediately thought that you must hate it. Turns out I was a buffoon.
Look, it's alright. Maybe you should have been more gentle instead of breaking in when you give me requests.
I should also confess that I also drove onto your car that time. Sorry. I shouldn't have done that. It's just that I have bipolar disorder, which is why I punched you after you told me to be friends instead. Needless to say, are you still interested in me?